Welcome to the University of Detroit Mercy's open house on a new degree, the Graduate Certificate in Applied Data Science. I'm Shadi Banitan, the Director of Computer Science. Please put yourself on mute. You can unmute yourself and ask the presenters questions when the presentation is over. This session is being recorded. So for the presenters, I will start with myself. I am Dr. Shadi Banitan, an associate professor and the director of computer science. My research interests include data mining, machine learning, and deep learning. During my career, I have published 47 papers in refereed journals and at conferences that have been cited more than 400 times. I teach data mining course, which is a required course for this certificate. I also teach artificial intelligence course, an elective course in this certificate program. Dr. Mina.
Hello, everyone. I'm Mina Maliki. My students call me Dr. Mina. I'm an assistant prof in ECE and computer science department. My research interests focus mainly on pattern recognition, machine learning, deep learning, and data analysis. Before starting my PhD studies, I had more than 10 years of experience in the industry as well. I have been involved in many IT and research projects related to employing the machine learning approaches in different areas, including text mining, real-time location systems, bioinformatics, transportations, and most recently in autonomous vehicles and, generally speaking, automotive industries. My research interest and my research in this area has resulted in the publications of more than 8 peer-reviewed journal papers and more than 30 conference and poster papers. For this certificate, I will teach a database and the machine learning courses and also maybe deep learning that all of them, they are electives in this certificate program. Okay, Matt, you can go.
I'm Matt Haley. I am not a PhD in the program. I come from industry. I was most recently a managing director with Accenture, which is a very large consulting firm. I had about 50,000 data scientists and data engineers around the world, primarily in the US, India, China, and the Philippines. So we did a tremendous amount of very advanced ML work. We also did a lot of interesting work over the last several years on the data engineering side. Google and Amazon, several other companies were my clients. Prior to that, I had done a startup that sold to Microsoft and retired, came out of retirement because of some people that were really smart doing some interesting things out of Stanford, and came out, became a founder of that company, grew that company, and then we sold that to Siebel, which is now part of Microsoft. So I am now retired and teaching the Introduction to Data Science class, which isn't fully retired. That class, and we'll talk about that a little more, is very much a breadth class. It covers everything from hypothesis generation through measuring the actions that people take as a result of being a good data scientist and doing analytics. Paul?
I'm the Director of Professional Engineering Programs at the University of Detroit Mercy, also industry liaison. Like Matt, I'm right out of industry. I do have 2 degrees in engineering from the University of Detroit Mercy, but also an MBA. My industry background, over 20 years with General Motors, more than a decade as a vehicle chief engineer or an executive, leading full program launches. Most recently, spent 4 years in Shanghai, China, launching a global car out of China. Also launched vehicles globally. After that, went over to Magna International as a global vice president of product development for their global enterprise, returned to the university a couple of years ago, and very excited to be doing what I'm doing. Data analytics is something we used in the auto industry as we developed autonomous electric vehicles. The sensors and radar and LiDAR all need to communicate, but it was quick to realize that it's really the AI or the data analytics that ties all that together and makes it work. Beyond that, at Magna, we used AI or data analytics in our sales and our marketing. We really studied behaviors very carefully. So what we'll talk about today is the data and applied data analytics around technical topics where we feel it could really be extremely useful. Thank you.
Matt, you are muted.
I was trying to mute out the dog in the background barking. As I mentioned a minute ago, the objective of any data science work is to help people make decisions, take actions, and then measure the results of those actions. We can do all kinds of really cool things, but the end result is someone taking an action. That requires using a variety of different data science tools. Some of them can be very basic analytic tools. Quite often, they're much more advanced analytics tools and ML tools. We kind of think of, if you're new to the space, you can kind of think of ML or machine learning as a deeper version or more complex AI. But the concept is using the decreased cost of compute and storage to really emphasize the ability to learn from our environment, learn from the science, the math, and make analysis and decisions much stronger, then help people implement those decisions and then measure the results of those. So it's very much a data science program. However, to do that well, you also have to learn the data engineering. You cannot do any kind of probability analysis without data. So the class or the program has the breadth of all of data science. We do that, a lot of that in the introductory class, but then we really are going to dive into the database work, the web work, the AI, the ML, and Dr. Bonatan will talk in a couple minutes about the breadth of the different programs you can take. But to get out of the program, we want to make sure that you have the full breadth, and then you also have the depth that we'll talk about in the electives. All right.
Paul?
Okay, thank you. So the job market and growth opportunity in this particular area is really leading. You know, on average, data scientists, as you can see, make over $108,000 per year. Data scientist is the #1 job on Glassdoor, and many companies like Accenture require all employees to learn basics of AI, cloud, and data. Again, you know, the way we look at this is a fast-growing, emerging technology, but soon will be part of everything we do, right? It's just a more intelligent way to make sure systems communicate, to make sure that manufacturing facilities are up and running in the most efficient process. It's really where we are at as a nation. And so to have this graduate certificate really does set you above everyone else as you're looking at your career progression.
Okay, you may ask yourself that why should I choose University of Detroit Mercy over other universities and institutes that offer a similar certificate? The first reason that was also my reason to join the University of Detroit Mercy is the unique mission of the University of Detroit Mercy. So let me read the mission of the university from its website. University of Detroit Mercy exists to provide excellent student-centered undergraduate and graduate education in an urban context, Detroit Mercy Education seeks to integrate the intellectual, spiritual, ethical, and social development of our students. So what we can do to provide excellent student-centered undergraduate and graduate education, the first is that we offer small size classes within an average students to faculty ratio of 11:1. Our students are encouraged and helped by faculties to find service learning course projects that benefit the community. It also allows students to use so having this opportunity allows the students to use their practical skills and knowledge that they have gained in the class in a real world settings to help the community. These goals can be achieved because of the small size of classes and because of the mission of the university, and also in addition, because of the strategic location of the University of Detroit Mercy in the heart of the automotive industry. So you will have the chance to interact with professionals and experts in your field of interest and find real world projects more easily. In addition, the courses will be taught mainly by professors and professionals, as you could see some sample here, with industry experience, which will make the previous goals of this program easier to achieve. Finally, there are different perspectives for the data science program, but to start this program specifically at the University of Detroit Mercy, having a basic understanding of mathematics and statistics is sufficient. And we can help you through this course, through this certificate with the courses that we are offering.
Structured with professionals in mind. So the graduate certificate in applied data science provides hands-on practice working with different data types to identify new ways to inform decision-making. The curriculum teaches professionals to use data science techniques in various domains with a foundation for applying them in their fields. The program will be application-oriented with case studies and examples from multiple industries and utilizing the most widely used analytics tools and techniques. The certificate mainly targets employed professionals who need the data science courses knowledge, training, and skills. The professionals who have deep knowledge about their field or expertise but are not necessarily data scientists will find this program very valuable. They can develop the necessary skills to implement many data science and analytics principles in their work area.
Okay, so if you search for top data science job skills in high demand in 2022, you will find lists similar to what you can see in this slide. So it's kind of a summary of what Matt explained for the data science, that first of all, it's no secret that data science is all about making the best of data from the raw data, actually. So the idea is that how we can get meaningful knowledge and information and insights from the unstructured data that we have. Statistics definitely makes it easier to sort and analyze the data and to see how these data relate to each other. Then data wrangling is a type of data preparation, because most of the time the data that the company or business have or collects or receives, it's not ready for modeling. Data wrangling is the process that we need to pre-process the data for further analysis, including, for example, collecting data, combining relevant fields, removing noisy data, irrelevant data, and in general, cleansing the data. Then what the data visualization means, to me, it's a graphical representation of the findings from the data. So data visualization actually is one of the most essential skills that data scientists should have, because it's not just finding and representing the final results, but it also is about how you can explore the data and understand and learn from the data by visualizing the data and find its vulnerability. Then we have critical thinking and problem solving, which are other important job skills in this area. Obviously, data scientists need to know how to solve problems and make appropriate decisions based on data and the fact that they have. So data science comes with tons of problems, and most of these problems, they need immediate solutions. To arrive to the solution for these problems, it is important to know how to think and where to start from. So a data scientist should be able to solve problems and turn them into code that can be used in production and in industry or for the goal that they have. Then we have programming, which of course data science is about programming, because programming skills for data science brings together all the fundamental skills that we needed to collect the data, transform the raw data, clean the data, and then find the result or actionable insights from the data. So actually there isn't no specific rule about that, which programming languages are preferred or better for data science, but Python, R, and MATLAB, I can say that they are some of the most favorite ones. Then we have communication skills, which is really important. So because as you know, data science is about transforming raw data to a format that everyone can understand. And based on that understanding, they can have a better decision. So this shows how important it is to have good communication skills. Because as a data scientist, what you work with working with non-technical team members, so you need to have a good communication skills to be able to communicate with these non-technical team members and explain and translate the technical results to them. So this is also an important technique. And finally, teamwork, because as a data scientist, we don't expect data scientists to work alone. So the job of data scientists requires close interaction with departments such as finance or IT or operation or the other one. And that's why the team working skills is also really important.
So for the course requirements, this program offers several courses to help you gain the top required job skills for data science. So the program consists of 3 required courses: data mining, intro to data science, and statistics for data science. And there are 2 electives that you can pick from this list. Now, for the requirements, it gives you a breadth of knowledge in the required courses, and the elective courses give you a profound knowledge in the area you choose. All of the required skills are covered in the required courses. Now, the courses are developed and taught by faculty with a wide range of expertise, including but not limited to computer science, engineering, mathematics, economics, and business. This diversity of faculty interests benefit the students as they can pursue specific skills and knowledge relevant to their desired career path. We believe that this makes the program unique.
Thanks, Shadi. So the certificate approach is, as everyone has said, is to be making sure that you cover everything. As a matter of fact, in the intro class, if you go back to what was covered on slide 7, all 10 of those skills we actually develop and teach. Then, depending on what electives you take, you can go deeper into the others. But you can't be a qualified data scientist or a qualified data engineer unless you have all of those skills. Communication, for example, is one that at first it doesn't seem as important, but it's critical that you don't just come to an engineering team or a marketing team or a production team, depending on who you're supporting as a data engineer, and give them the math. You have to be able to show them how this is applicable, that it has decisions that they can take, that they can then implement, and that you can measure the results of. We used a lot of case studies, and throughout the entire certificate program, you use a lot of case studies. And as was mentioned by Shadi earlier, depending on the statistics and the maths knowledge that you have coming in, we can modify the projects. In the projects that I had in this last semester, I had some people that didn't have a strong math background and came out of a business background using Excel and standard probability work that you would learn in an undergrad stats class. We also had some people that with stronger math that were doing probabilities using differential equations. So we understand it as faculty how to modify and use the skill sets you have. The important thing is that you come out with a broad set of skills as well as the depth. We had people in the last class, or my last class, doing statistical analysis and making probabilistic predictions of when semiconductor yield and volumes were going to be high enough that could impact sales. We also had people, as Dr. Mina was mentioning, using very, very dirty healthcare data, trying to make projections about how to better deliver a healthcare mechanism in a poor area. The data was very dirty. A lot of wrangling had to be done before we could even start doing the science. The classes are all oriented toward making you stronger as either practitioners or leaders. In my particular class that I was just teaching, the original problem statements and the hypotheses the students originally started with all failed, because that's what happens in the real world. You start with what you think is going to work. You gather the data, you start to do analysis, you have insights, you realize you were headed down a wrong path, you modify it and you go down a different path. The goal of the class wasn't to determine whether their first hypothesis was right. The goal of the class was to make sure that they went through, learned what they could learn, made the modifications like you would in the real world, and then generated insights that were actionable. We also measured the students on being able to critique other students. Part of being a data scientist in the real world is doing peer review of models. Well, you've got to learn how to do peer review. So we taught how to do a peer review that actually gave constructive feedback without tearing anybody apart, but also helped them build better models. And that's part of what we want to do all the way through. Use case studies, as well as the deep math and the science necessary to generate good insights and pull it together in an integrated curriculum. I'll pass that on back to Shadi.
Okay, thank you. So how it works, this certificate has 15 credits, 5 courses, and can usually be completed in 1 calendar year. So you can get admitted in fall or winter. So suppose you get admitted in fall, you can take 2 courses in the fall, 2 courses in the winter, 1 course in the summer. So basically you can finish all of the 5 courses in 1 year. It is 100% online. So you have the option to complete all the courses, the required and the electives online. Now, if you like to take some, so if you are around and you want to take some in-person classes, you can do that. Paul?
So one of the features of the graduate certificate, which we really like, is the courses are manageable. You're able to take the courses, again, as Dr. Benetani mentioned, you're able to take 5 courses in as quickly as 1 year, and they stack towards a full master's degree. So in other words, those 15 credits roll right into your master's degree without any loss of time or effort. And you can get a full master's degree in applied data analytics, software engineering, or tech management, which is a combination of technical and business knowledge delivered in a technical way to provide the leaders of the future. So again, this is really cutting edge here, where you're able to hit the ground running with your graduate certificate, and you can continue right on to get your master's, or come back a little bit later and get your full master's degree. And from a tuition perspective, what's it going to cost, right? So we actually, if you haven't looked at us lately, we are very competitive with other schools in the Metro Detroit area. We give personalized, hands-on attention to every student. So we're often perceived as being extremely expensive. However, with our recent tuition reset, we're very competitive with those in the other schools in the surrounding area, while offering much more. And if you work with your employers, whether this is something you pay for yourself or you work with an employer, many times what happens within the course of the year, it spans 2 calendar years. So you get tuition reimbursement dollars over 2 calendar years, which in most cases pays for the entire graduate certificate. And from an international student perspective, if it's a pure international student, the cost per credit hour obviously goes up. If you're working for a global multinational corporation that's headquartered in the US, or that has other cohorts of US students, we can look at that on a case-by-case basis. So please don't let that cost scare you away. Let's start working together.
Thank you.
And then I think that the students from Canada and Mexico, they assume to be domestic students, yeah?
Yep, yes. For the admission requirement, you need to have a bachelor's degree or equivalent in computer science, engineering, or any analytics-based field with a GPA of 3.0 or higher. And also you need to have a basic experience in programming, like in Python, in R, in MATLAB, or even C++. Now, for the next steps, take your first step and apply today at udmercy.edu/apply. You can begin the program, as I mentioned before, in the fall or in the winter semesters. And if you do have questions about the admissions, you can contact our admissions team at admissions@udmercy.edu. Now we have reached. Yeah, go ahead, Paul. Yeah.
There is no cost to apply, right? So it makes
Right.
sense to get your name in there, get approved so that you can start working with your companies or start talking to us about the course plan.
Thanks, Paul. So we have reached the end of our presentation.